It is the Mosley Show. Welcome in. Sorry for our delayed beginning, but here we go. Big show planned for you today. In fact, Kev, we've been talking about it for a while. I've been kind of excited to talk to him. Apparently he's tweaking his famous defense. And I'm very excited to kind of see what's going on there in Los Angeles. I think he's back in Fort Worth for a big fundraiser on Thursday night with his foundation with Leon Bridges, the famous singer-songwriter based out of Fort Worth. There's two Texas singer-songwriters. I think both of them may be from the Metroplex. Charlie Crockett's one of them. Leon Bridges is the other. He's really good and very talented. But the man I'm talking about is Gary Patterson. All right. And Gary Patterson, the new defensive coordinator at USC, he will join us coming up in just a little while. That'll be at 2:00 today for Gary. And then tomorrow, Mitch Thompson. Baylor's doing well in baseball. We'll get some Mitch Thompson on. Kevin, welcome to the program today. Good to have you.
Here we are. Let's go.
Are you and we've got, I know you're all Big Ten up today because
that's
for the
right.
First time, well, in a long time, a conference has won the Triple Crown, and three different teams this time. I think the last time Florida doubled up with men's basketball and football. In this case, you've got UCLA women, Michigan men, and the Indiana football. Pretty cool.
A couple of those are still weird to say. UCLA in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And Indiana football winning anything.
That's the way it is now.
Yeah.
And Indiana's had they've had a great transfer portal, and they got it done. So, Kev, congrats to your Big Ten brethren. And
yes.
I'm seeing reports of like the SEC. I don't think the SEC's dead by any stretch, but
no,
3 straight Big Ten football titles. Is that right now? Yeah,
that is correct.
Ohio State before.
Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. Mm-hmm.
So
prepare for more.
I will prepare for more from you in Campus Confidential in about 20 minutes from now. And we'll have Major, Kev, we can get back into whatever we want to get into from last night's games. Looking forward, Kevin, people are doing their way too early top 25 list, and which is silly because we haven't even done the portal yet. Kevin, as of this morning, over 1,000 players in the portal. All right. And I've been in contact with Scott Drew today, and Bears are off and running. Bears are heavily involved in all of that. I'll have more to share moving forward, but there's going to be some movement. There'll be some movement on the staff, that kind of thing. I've noticed Ashley Hodge will be on with us any day now. Probably Friday, maybe we'll target for him. I'm off Thursday. Got a funeral for my grandmother. And Kevin, if you're thinking a guy of my age was kind of old to have a grandmother, you'd be right. But man, she had an incredible run. So we lost her the other day, Monday. She waited till after Easter, and
of
course. And then
very
Monday
Baptist
morning,
thing to do.
Is sadly, yesterday morning. So as I said yesterday, Kev, the show must go on. But I had just had a conversation with my daughter moments before yesterday's show, and I don't think I showed it on the air, but I was struggling a little bit, and I thought, oh gosh, our show's got to start. I can't just punt on this. And so anyway, once we started, I was fine. But I will say moments before the show started, Kevin, I was like, now how am I going to do this? So anyway.
Not in a right frame of mind, huh?
Although we had a pretty good show, so Who knows? But and my grandmother always listened. She loved to listen to the radio shows over the years, and whether it was ESPN Central Texas, whether it was my Dallas show, all of that. But man, we're going to be honoring her, and so I'll be out Thursday while we have her funeral, and I think my sister and I, Kev, may be sharing a few words there. So again, I'm fine speaking for 2 hours live every day, and really for the last 20 years. But so I think people always kind of think, well, Mosley can talk at any event, anything, and the truth is that's not a place though I really want to be talking. I'll be fine, but I'm gonna have my sister up there with me in case I falter. I think that would be good. I think it'd be good. She's pretty clutch, so she'll be fine, and she's very funny. And so anyway, she'll tell good stories, and we'll go about it. We'll go about it in that way we do. Fortunately, we have a great family, and we got a ton of family still around, and so that's pretty nice when you can kind of gather with your family even on a sad time. All right. 102 would have been 103, Kev, in July. All right. And so that was 1923 joined us. 1923. So saw a lot of things over the years. But anyway, 52 is pretty old for a grandson. But I always took great pride in that. For some reason I love that. I'm like, people look at me kind of like, wait, you have a grandmother still alive? Yeah, it's the way it worked out. Because she had a great long life. And I thought my grandfather, Kev, had an awesome long life, died at 86. Of course, that was like 22 years ago now that he died. So she just kept on rolling. And so remarkable.
My grandma, she had her 85th birthday, and the whole family got together, sang your happy birthday, and of course the kids at the end saying many more, right?
Yeah.
And my grandma at 85 said, "Well, I hope not."
Oh, that's what she was. She was not looking to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
some people are just saying, you know what? And if she was going to turn 103 in July, you know what? I'm not sure if I would undertake another Texas summer if I didn't have to,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she'll, we sort of know, we got a good idea where she is. So I think when you have that kind of life and you have that kind of belief, you can rejoice in some of these things. But boy, yesterday, Kevin, I don't think I could have talked about it. I was still kind of in that, whoa. So it comes and goes, and that's the way it works. Thank you, CNBs. Thank you, Central National Bank. Thank you, the Nesbitt family, and Joe Nesbitt, and that's the Nesbitt family. That's an incredible family. He is the CEO, and then Brian Fonville, one of the executive vice presidents over there. Veronica Thompson, she's kind of big time ambassador, director of all fun, director. She does a lot. So, and that it happens to be the wife of Derek Smith. So, all kinds of tie-ins to Baylor. And I noticed the other day, Kev, when Doug McNamee sat down and kind of did some kind of, release or something Baylor was doing. It was sponsored and underwritten right there. C&B was on there. So they're heavily involved with Baylor and heavily involved with the Mosley Show. And we could not be prouder of that relationship. Kevin, we'll have to do our trivia contest maybe Friday instead of Thursday. We're going to be off Thursday while I'm attending my grandmother's funeral. And so we'll do that Friday. We'll have a big trivia, and we'll talk about Schmaltzes. Kevin, can I see a Schmaltz? Can I see that beautiful script, that cursive, the sandwich shop that it is? Can I see it? Oh, thank you. There it is. Oh, how I could use a Schmaltz sandwich today. Kevin, last night we gathered around. We watched the NCAA championship game, the men's game, and it was. I'm appreciative that UConn kept battling, And Kevin, on that late with about a minute and a half to go, when they got the ball in transition with a chance to get it to 4 or 2, there was a really big moment where they get the ball in transition, and I'm thinking, whoa. I mean, this thing, here they come again. It felt like kind of Duke all over again. But they didn't get it done. And one of the reasons they didn't get it done, Kev, is because Dusty May and that Michigan team, which had been averaging over 90 points in all the other games, and they didn't really have it last night from a shooting standpoint. Didn't shoot the ball great. Weren't hitting a lot of threes. I mean, Cadeau finally hit one. I swear that made him like 1 or 2 for 16 or something. And they weren't, UConn really beat them up on the offensive boards. But there's just sometimes the greatness of a team is too much. And Kev, what happened is Lindeborg, first of all, Kevin, that guy right there, there's Braylon Mullins covering him. I thought Braylon actually hung in there and played pretty well. Lindeborg gave one of those great halftime interviews. He was just like, I just don't feel great. I feel horrible. I feel weak. And then he said, I'm playing soft. I'm going to be a lot better in the second half. And he was. He was playing hurt. In fact, his mom and his agent told him not to play. And he wasn't going to do that. Axel Lindeborg went out there and he kept fighting. And Kevin, that's how you build a team. This thought, and I do still think there's a place for retention. But if you look at these last few championship teams and you look at their starters, Kev, these are transfers. These are transfers. And 4 of the 5 starters for Michigan last night, Kev, did not play for Michigan the previous year. Sometimes a guy, they'll transfer in and then they'll get a couple of years with a team. These guys last night, no. Adai, Mara, Lindeborg coming over from Kev. I told you the other day, I love his hands. Can you imagine, think about Kevin, how as much as we don't like him and he's so arrogant, and he's even more arrogant, honestly, than Danny Hurley. I think Danny Hurley can be kind of entertaining and can be kind of nice at times. Mick Cronin just sticks to his guns. Mick Cronin at UCLA is just always kind of a punk. Kevin had this guy on his team. Didn't know what to do with him. Didn't really know what to do with him. Didn't really treat him like a defensive enforcer. Didn't really treat him as a scorer. I think if we look back, Kev, we would see him play about 10, 15 minutes at the most for UCLA. Just did not really know how to play him. Dusty May did. Dusty May, who's had Golden, who was with him at FAU, Danny Wolf, who came over from one of the Ivy Leagues. I mean, this thought that you have to have retention, Michigan shows that, no, if you get the right people in the portal, you can put it all together pretty quick. Now, Baylor couldn't do it, but Baylor didn't have the horses this year. All right, they had some good players. They had some really interesting first-round talent type players with Carr and Tunde, but they didn't have enough. They didn't have the horses. Michigan had the horses. And then in the end, when they needed a big shot on an open shot, Trey McKinney, the freshman, knocked it down. And Kevin, boy, Kevin's on his game today with this national title. Jeez. Kev, I'm always wondering, how do you get a guy like Trey McKinney, or Kevin, who is number 11 for them? Like, I'm thinking about number 4, and then I'm thinking about number 11. Who is number 11? Because he's got
Roddy Gale.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned it the other day. They just keep coming because they got him and Johnson and it just
There's
never
Perez.
stops. And UConn got in foul trouble, and UConn wasn't deep enough, whereas Michigan could just keep, throwing guys at them.
Yeah.
But the difference maker to me, and the difference maker for Baylor, I think, is this position right here.
Yeah, and
Elliot Cadeau was out of the game for a good amount of time in the first half, where he got in a little foul trouble, and they kind of sputtered quite a bit. He came back, and that's what sparked the 10-3 run to end the half that really ended up being a big difference in the game.
Kev, he's a guy that honestly UNC fans were kind of sick of. I just don't think they truly appreciated the pass-first point guard. Not a great shooter at all times. Not always a great finisher. But boy, did he pass the ball. And there was a guy on that team, Kev, you remember on UNC's coaching staff, they had the former UNC great Sean May. Remember him? He was on their Final Four team. I think they won a national title. But anyway, Sean May was on that UNC staff. And apparently, Dusty May said to him, when you were 18 or 19 years old, would you have wanted to play with Elliot Cadeau? And May said, blankety blank, yes. That was all Dusty May needed to hear. Kevin, let me break the hearts of some Baylor fans. I've kind of brought this up before. I'll say it again. You can leave Cadeau's picture up here for this little story time with Mosley. Bill Armstrong was on the Baylor staff before he went to McNeese State. Bill had coached at that that place in Springfield, Missouri, or I think it's Branson, Link Academy, where a lot of these guys have come out of. I think that's where Jacoby Walter finished up. It's where Trey Johnson played for Texas before he went in the lottery. It's where a man named Elliot Cadeau played. Elliot Cadeau, Baylor was very much in the running to get Cadeau from UNC, but they had a little problem. They had a Rob Wright issue. So they decided to cast their lot with a young man by the name of Rob Wright III, who had just played for them. We'll do retention. We're going to give this guy well over $1 million. We're going to be loyal to him. He signed the deal. BYU comes along, he leaves. It's too late at this point. Players don't, when you circle back with them, they want to be your first choice. They don't really want to be your second and third choice. Dusty May went and got Elliot Cadeau. Baylor had an inside track on him. There was a scenario where you would have had Cadeau, Cam Carr, and Tunde. Kevin, I'm moving around a lot today. I'm sorry. Let's get that. There you go. My camera is very frisky. It follows me around everywhere. That's a true story. The Bears were way in on Elliot Cadeau. Man. Now today, Kevin, there are already more than 1,000 players in the portal. Michigan, here's how Michigan built it. They said, okay, we like this kid from, where was, Kevin, was Merez at Illinois, Merez Johnson. Adai was at UCLA. And, they had 3 players still on the team from the Juwan days, but not real big-time players. And 4 of their 5 starters all came from other teams the previous year. Kevin, this is something Baylor has looked into. It's happening more and more in the Big 12. Michigan kind of like to keep it in the conference. Well, we like this Perez Johnson guy. We like Adai over at UCLA. I just think, first of all, Kevin, I'm tired of broadcasters calling everything a hook shot. You can just turn around and have a little push shot as your big man. Not everything needs to be called a hook. But that team did not shoot well. That team got out-rebounded. Kevin, they shot most of the game. They were somewhere around like 36 to 38%. Now, UConn was too. I just think Michigan played better D than anybody else UConn had been up against. As much as I like Terrace, Reed Jr., Kev, he still did okay, and he does some nice things, but he just couldn't operate comfortably over Adai Mara. Michigan made enough shots, and then I thought that was a big moment, Kev, and that might have happened in the first half, late in the first half. But when Roddy Gale on a follow came flying in there and took the ball and dunked it, they obviously weren't all, neither team I think was blocking out. I will say this, Kev, the how can you not watch Michigan at the rim when you saw Caravan, the number 0, Smith for UConn, Solo, Demery, when you saw them all trying to take the ball at the rim, that was some of the dangest defense I've ever seen. It was like a feeding frenzy, and there were like 3 dudes competing to see who was going to block the shot. You'd get the initial block, and if they somehow got over that outstretched hand, you had somebody coming over the top to spike the ball. It was from a defensive standpoint, it was a thing of beauty. And then, Kevin, just weird people would come in, right? Like, and this guy's been there a while, like Shedder would come in. I mean, these are all good guys. Like that, I would just say
Cheddar.
Everybody, Cheddar?
Just like the cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that everybody who comes off the bench for Michigan is an additive property, is an additive feature. Whereas, to your point earlier, Kevin, and Danny brought this up afterwards, Hurley did, I thought he was nice about the officials after the game. Because I think some people were mad, and they didn't get as many free throws and all that. And he simply said, I would take those 3 guys every night, every game of the season if I could have him. That's a great crew. You know what? We crush him when he's abusive and over the top with the officials. Let's praise him when he's kind of cool to the officials. Because he was. And I thought I was watching that last night, Kevin. I've seen it after games before where the team that wins it all is celebrating and it takes them a while to go over there and do the handshake line. And the UConn kids just sat over there in line, extremely patient, and waited on the guys to celebrate. And then when they got over there, there was a real huge respect, there, and good for all these teams.
Well, UConn might have had a memo about handshakes across their athletic departments.
That's fair. I wasn't even thinking about that, Gino. I liked what Hurley said the other day. when he was like, he's like, I apologize. I'm rubbing off on Gino. I think Gino's been around me too long. he was taking some of the flack for some of the behavior. Kev, I thought that, now what I was getting at from an additive standpoint, the UConn reserves, and that zero, I like him. He did his best, but you could just tell he wasn't totally comfortable running the team. His dribbling was a bit suspect. There were some turnovers, and I hated the quick fouls on. Some of it was their fault. A lot of times people are like, oh, they called too many fouls. Well,
they're right up on him.
Like, don't reach in there when you have to. Don't.
If anything, I think that maybe UConn didn't get called for some fouls that maybe should have been called around the rim. But like, yeah, Demery
and Solo Ball got in too much foul trouble.
Yeah,
and they had to sit.
I think it's funny because
a long period of time. Cadeau sat for a while, but they were up. It didn't matter.
That really. Bench was really in the kind of the middle of the second half against Illinois is what helped win them the game, because they were able to continue whatever was going on against Illinois. And in this game, it's definitely what lost them the game, because they just didn't have the quality of depth that Michigan did.
Now, I'll tell you one thing, though, Kev. Braylon Mullins, you talk about a coming out party. I think somebody would take him in the first round. I mean, I hope he doesn't come out, and I think they'll pay him, and he'll stay, and he could be he could come back next year as one of the great young players in the country.
Maybe for his sophomore year. Taste of what it can be like back in good old Indiana.
No, I don't think so, buddy. I think he is at UConn to stay. But what I am thinking, I was watching his athleticism and a couple of those rebounds he had, those offensive rebounds. Oh my gosh. Braylon Mullins is not just a tall, 3-point shooting 6'6" Indiana kid. Braylon Mullins can flat out get up. This guy has all sorts of athleticism. I've seen lesser players taken in the top 15 of a draft than Braylon Mullins. Now, the good news for UConn is that it's a deep, deep draft. I would say that first 8 or 9 are like crazy good. I'd say top 15 are really good, which is why people like Cam Carr or Tunde could at least think about staying at Baylor. Now, of course, the problem is, Kevin, you can't give everybody like $2 or $3 million, right? You can't. I mean, at least Baylor can. I guess BYU could, but I don't think Baylor can go, okay, Tunde, tell you what we'll do for you. We can give you, $2 million. Cam, we'll give you another $2 million. I mean, wow. You're $4 million. You've already got Cam. You already got Ike. You already got Isaac signed. I mean, you could be $5 or $6 million into your roster right there. Well, Baylor's going to need $10 to $12 million for this roster, probably. So, used to be, Kev, you just waited and you saw like, okay, let's let them dabble in the draft and see who comes back and who might play another year. Let's see if Flagler comes back. I look at guys like Flagler in the past, Kendall Brown. Wow. Again, it's not like they hadn't, had a cup of coffee. Flagler's been hanging around on NBA rosters. Same with what's our man's name? RJ? Rajon? Anyway, but, Flagler would have come back in 23. I'm trying to think which season Flagler was still with them. One of those seasons, he would have come back as just a monster. And he opted to go, and some of these guys just end up very fringy if they're even on the NBA roster. A lot of times they're in the G League putting up putting up big numbers there. So anyway, I'm just thinking back on some guys. Kev, it's going to be all hands on deck, and staff movement for the Bears. I do believe that's going to happen, and I'm gonna Kevin, we were first to kind of tease that one big thing that I thought could happen with the Baylor coaching roster, and still think it's going to happen. Not going to get down too far down that road because there's some things that need to be tied up and all of that, but pretty exciting for Baylor. And we'll see how that staff ends up looking. I would say as many, I think that there'll be some new staff members, but I just don't want to, because I really like everybody who was on this staff, and I want these guys to have an opportunity to do some really cool things, and I think they may have that opportunity. But this things are a changing, and I'm not just talking about the roster. I'm talking about staff. I'm talking about the players, the portal, the process, the money. It's all about the change. As Bob Dylan would have said or sang one time, these times they're a changing. Is that Bob Dylan? I think it is. Nah. I'm just kind of thinking of what he sounds like in my head. All right, Kev, 2:00, we got major guest Gary Patterson will be stopping by. Next, let's do some Campus Confidential.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you. The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years $3, 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
Okay. That was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Oh, good. All right. That was nice, Kev. A little quicker than I'm used to there. So I was just sitting here preparing for Gary Patterson, USC, the Trojans defensive coordinator. That's kind of cool. Look back there, Kevin. Let me see if I can move just a little bit. Look at that over there. The Masters Amen Corner. It's this week. It begins on Thursday. There's the Master scorecard up over my right shoulder. Right up there. Been there. Love it. An amazing, amazing place. So Gary Patterson, USC defensive coordinator, slated to join us at 2:00. All right. And then, Kev, I was thinking about some of those TCU players he's had to see. Who recruited Josh Hoover? Would he have Just trying to think how long he was at TCU. Or would that have been Sonny? I'm trying to think how long he's been gone now. I guess maybe Sonny would have, but it's kind of interesting who all the quarterbacks and that, Kev,
Sonny,
that quarterback at USC, what's his name? Is it like, how do you say his name? He's good. He's really good. I kind of want to get Gary's take on him. That young quarterback at USC who was kind of on the fringes of the Heisman. How do you say it?
Mayava?
How do you say his first name? What's the first name?
Jaden.
Okay. All right. I hadn't watched him a lot. And since Gary's been going up against him in practice, I thought I would get his take, on Jaden Mayava. I need to double check how to say that. I'll just trust you. How'd you say it? Mayava or
Mayava?
Mayava.
Mayava.
Mayava. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. 2:00, we'll get Gary on and Patterson to the Big Ten. Isn't that funny? It's hard to imagine. Kevin, we could do more of this in the 2:00 hour, but let's do something we call Campus Confidential. I'm sure this will involve some championship, some national championship talk. Kevin, later in the week, we'll get heavy into the Masters. I promise you that. I've been. It's incredible. I'll tell stories. I will let you know some things about the Masters. A tradition unlike any other. But, Kevin, what do you have for us in Campus Confidential today?
Yes. Well, there was this thing that happened last night that even the announcers started to question. You know how I love a good conspiracy. Was there a rim problem with the, as you're looking at the court on TV, the one on the left side? Because Michigan went 0 for 8 in the first half, then started knocking down threes. And then I believe UConn ended 1 for 12 on that end of the floor in the second half.
We've been watching it. Ball kind of will stay up there for an inordinate amount of time. Did it again. Most balls that sometimes roll around, some of them will fall in. They don't seem to do that on that rim. And then somebody had a funny line. I was trying to think they were kind of tapping into something. It was funny the way they presented it. I wish I could find it real quick. But they were just talking about, the tradition of the NCAA, like why they have a basketball that has way more bounce in it, and then rims that are way bouncier than what they use like the rest of the tournament. It's like, what's going on? And there was a moment where maybe he shouldn't have been trying to dribble. But Adai Mara, the great Spaniard, comes around the half court and he's 7'3" and he's dribbling the ball up above his head.
Yeah.
Because the ball.
I saw that he kind of like panicked, like, I don't normally have the ball here. What do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting deal. I don't know what's going on, but the old line about when they went to Indianapolis in Hoosiers to play in the state title, and Gene Hackman, had some folks measure out the rim and everything and said, I think you'll find that these are the exact same measurements as our gym back in Hickory. Oh. Wow.
Continue.
Wow. I could do that all day, every day. That right there, man. Used to study to it at Baylor. That's how I made a tremendous A. Naaman Keithley's New Testament exam. This music right here drove some of that. Those rims were not like the rims back in Hickory. I feel like those rims last night, or that one rim, has too much bounce, maybe too much, not as much give. And it's I always hate
like a double rim in a park.
But I always hate the enormous football stadiums because invariably, and they practiced in Michigan, they went out to the big house and put some rims out there, and which is smart to try to do all that. But you play in places all the way through the tourney and through the season that at the most have like 18,000, like NBA arenas are the biggest ones you play in. And I even hear coaches sometimes when the kids go play in an NBA arena go, well, the depth perception was a little different. The perception in a 70 or 80,000 seat stadium, I'm sure you know it by heart, Kevin, whatever it is there at Lucas Oil or whatever they call it now.
It's different for basketball. It's more for basketball than it is for a Colts game. It's about 68,000 for a Colts game.
I was there when they wouldn't, it was COVID still, and they wouldn't let that many people in there. And to me, that even made it weirder because you're just seeing huge swaths of emptiness and empty. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, people will say, well, Baylor won it during the bubble championship. Who cares? In the NBA, I kind of get it because nobody was in there. At least at the Baylor championship, a bunch of us made our way into the arena. All right. And I would say, it'd be interesting to know how many people got to attend that. I was in there, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 to 15,000 got to be in that big arena. But we were all spread out. And one guy was getting mad because I had my mask down. He was like a sign to me. I was sitting up there by the late great Dr. John Anderson, and we were having such a great time. And of course, in our minds, to hear each other, we needed to pull our masks down.
Right. Yeah.
And what was not, that was frowned upon there in the arena. What else do you have for me, sir?
All right, so now the tournament is over. I want you to rank these moments, these shots from the tournament here. I have a collection of 6.
Oh, okay.
So we have...
interesting. All right.
We have Fulgaris, you got Mullins, you got Chase Johnston from High Point, you got Tyler Tanner's miss down there at the bottom for Vanderbilt, Dylan Darling hitting his only shot of the game there for St. John's over Kansas, and then Atega Owe and his game-tying shot at the end of regulation.
All right. Now, I'm trying to remember which ones, like one of them was for the Final Four. That was Mullins. Some of them were for the Sweet 16. Some of them were just first-round games. Kentucky just was a first-round game, but it was a great shot. And the High Point thing was fun because it was High Point, but it was not like it was interesting because of the context of it rather than the actual look of the shot.
Because he had never hit a 2-point basket the entire season.
Yeah, big three-point specialist.
Yeah.
Okay, Mullins is just the runaway winner. I don't have anything close to Mullins. Where is he? I can't even. Is that bottom right?
Upper right.
Upper right. Okay, yeah, there he is. Okay, I got Mullins 1.
Really? Not even Fulgaris there? Against the defending champions?
Not even close.
All right.
It's not even close. It was for the Final Four. I'm surprised you would even think about anything else. Okay, this is mine, and then you can do yours.
Yeah.
Braylon blows everything away in my mind, his shot. From where it was and what was at stake. Way. Now, I did love Fulgaris's. I think just for the pure pageantry of the moment, though, for the tournament, I would put Otega's shot second, Fulgaris 3, St. John 4, and then what does that leave me with?
You got Chase Johnston.
I put the miss 5 since it was a miss. And I put I mean, no offense to High Point because I loved it. But again, you kind of have to know what we just talked about to know how funny and interesting it was. In the moment, it was exciting, but it was just a breakaway point blank layup, right? Highest degree of difficulty, probably Ortega's. Mullins was just, again, I feel like Mullins blows everything away just because of what was at stake and just how gorgeous it was. Huge moment. How would you rank it?
I don't think Mullins is a breakaway winner. I'm going to put, I won't say quite 1A, 1B, but I'll put Mullins 1 and Falgaris is 2. I think to that moment, as a 9 seed, knocking out the defending champions in the round of 32, just that there's so much cojones to that one. Oway, yes, I get it, but it was just to tie the game. Kentucky shouldn't have even been in that situation. And so it can't be higher than any of the other, I mean, it's not going to be last. But so I would give, actually, I'm going to give you a twist here. I'm going to throw in the Vanderbilt miss right here. Because for here we go with the rim. For it to be that far in and still pop out, absolutely unbelievable at the buzzer. What a moment. And then I'll throw Darling in there once again. Hadn't scored at all in the game, and Rick Pitino gave him the ball and the opportunity. And yeah, I'm going to put Oway last. Even though it is the moment and everything, it was what a shot, what an amazing moment. It was still just to tie the game. Chase Johnson then in High Point is number 5 in my book. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, Oway's was just unbelievable, but
especially without the timeout and the flow of the game. I
just wish there's certain things that I wish could have happened. And one of those, you just made me think about it. I so wish Kelvin in Houston had won that game. And I can't believe how great, sometimes as we get away from these things, like Braylon's shot will always be remembered. What I wonder is, will we remember always, like, as we get away, because he'll probably be a decent NBA player. I don't think he'll be great. But, like, I wonder how long we'll remember the greatness of Walter Clayton Jr. Like, I just, there's almost no one I can remember. Braylon hit some huge shots. I get it. But, like, taking over that many games in a tournament. Like, you almost have to go back to one of those all-time greats, or, back in the day, Temple made a run, and they had a guy named Mark Macon long time ago. But, and I'm sure I could think of some more. But that Walter Clayton Jr. experience was unbelievable. Okay, good one, Kev. What else do you have for us?
So then my last one would be taking into account some of the, obviously, portal just opened up, but before that, there was the portal for coaches. So which new NCAA basketball coach do you think will have the most immediate impact? So you want refreshed on some of them here?
Obviously, wait, now okay, I'm so sorry. I was texting Patterson.
That's fine.
Coach Patterson. Who will have the most immediate impact? Who are you talking about?
Right. As far as new college.
Coaches.
New coaches, new teams. Obviously, Michael Malone for North Carolina is the new one. You got Scott Cross, Georgia Tech. Gary McNamara, Syracuse coming back home. Justin Gainey with NC State. Will Wade, we all know where he went. Jared Calhoun for Cincinnati. Ben Jacobson, Utah State. Alan Huss at Creighton. Mike McDonald for St. Bonaventure. And there's also Luke Murray getting his first head coach at Boston College.
I like him. he's a more likable version of Hurley. I do think they're a lot alike, but he's got a softer kind of touch. It seems like. I'm not saying he's not competitive, but I'll believe it when I see it. Somebody winning at BC. It's been a long, long time.
Well, Hurley did say last night that they're about to have a resurgence because of him.
He called it a renaissance.
Oh, right.
No, I wasn't really correcting you. I was just remembering what I read that last night. I mean, I hate to admit this because I don't necessarily care for the guy. It's got to be Will Wade because they're gonna load him up with a bunch of NIL money. He's going to land some great players. He actually knows how to find point guards. I'm just thinking back to some of his previous LSU teams. I mean, Will Wade with a large budget is a scary thing. Now, just coaching wise, like that Calhoun move, Cincinnati, pretty good. It worries me a little bit that Cincinnati could have a big time coach because it's a sleeping giant and nobody's been able to wake it up in a while. I mean, really, since Huggins. Sure, they've had their moments, but been a long, long time since they were monsters. I think Huggy took them to the Final Four one year.
Yeah. The one, I don't know if this is immediate impact, but the most intriguing one to me is McNamara back to where he played college at Syracuse. He was part of that epic 6 overtime match against Georgetown in the Garden. And I think that there's something about coming home that reinvigorates him, that organization, and that fan base.
Got it. All right, we better break because we got Gary Patterson, the head coach, former head coach at TCU, now the defensive coordinator at USC, joining us next.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information. Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is the Matt Mosley Show. And, man, I've been excited to talk to this guy for a while. And he's in town. He's back. He's going to be in Fort Worth for something we're going to talk about. His foundation does some incredible things. But Kevin, if you would welcome in now the newest defensive coordinator at USC. In fact, he appears to have a Trojan pullover on as we speak. And Coach, you kind of get younger and younger. In fact, I heard an interview recently and your voice still sounded good. I thought after all that spring ball, you would kind of go back to losing the voice, but you must be kind of pacing yourself just a little bit, or maybe drinking some green tea or something. But welcome back to the Mosley Show, sir.
Well, thanks, Matt. And now you have those microphones that you talk to the guy on the field, so you don't have to do as much corresponding verbally as far as shouting out and doing things. So it's still I've lost a little bit, but it'll come back. It's not as bad as what it was if you were doing it on an everyday day-to-day basis. So,
did you take your guitar out there to Los Angeles at all? I mean, that is a place where you run into a lot of entertainers, a lot of musicians, a lot of actors, all that kind of thing. Or did you leave that back in Fort Worth?
No, I didn't take it initially at first 7. About 2 weeks ago when we moved a little bit our stuff into the rental house that we have. We kept our house here in Fort Worth. Everybody was asking, I was here for 28 years, so it won't move. But finally, golf clubs went, guitar went. Still haven't had an opportunity on any of that stuff because we just finished spring ball. But we'll have a little bit of time, to hopefully be able to do a little bit of both. But, there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had time to join Riviera or anything like that. You are a member of Colonial, and but I'm afraid your golf days are behind you for a little while here as you've jumped back in here. I want to get to what you're doing now and the excitement over that, but I also wanted to bring up, Gary, before we did that, this. Your foundation has done some amazing things, and you were able to spend these last couple of years really pouring into that. You always have, but you were able to even put more time into it. And I know you've got something coming up with Leon Bridges, who you've worked with. In fact, coming up this Thursday, and I was going to ask you about that, and because that's really been a big passion of yours, and y'all have been able to impact a lot of lives through that foundation.
Yeah, Leon, not necessarily does he like athletics. I'm not probably a go to the Met type person, but the two things that we agree on, that we both love music and we both love Fort Worth. And so 5 years ago, we started, the Gary Patterson Foundation we'd been doing since like 2002. But about 5 years ago in 20, well, really 19, right before, before COVID, we had to do it. We got together and really, I started it because I wanted to be able to give back. I had a job because of kids, and now we've really kind of taken over the Tarrant County area as far as Fort Worth and other parts of it. We deal with education with T3 as far as finding job opportunities for kids to go from that couldn't afford to go to college, get internships, find jobs once they graduate. Then the Presbyterian Night Shelter, we work with the homeless. Feeding hunger is a problem. We work hard with that. We're getting big into food pantries at schools and in churches and those kind of areas. And it's really been kind of cool. We're part of 4 or 5 here in the area, but there's over 100 food pantries in the Tarrant County area, and so it's really fun. Maddie Parker, mayor, really it's a big push for her. And Leon and I, Leon grew up in the community centers, which is another here in Fort Worth, so that's big for us. And then one of our partners is also the Tarrant County Food Bank, which is really does an unbelievable job of taking care of these areas. And so it's a problem, but we're trying to, a little bit at a time, we're trying to make it less of a problem. And it's been fun. Leon obviously is really doing awesome. And, been in, I don't know how many countries worldwide now, doing his thing. It's fun to get back together and join a cause. Love seeing the faces of the kids when we're able to help, and families. And yeah, it's been cool. Kelsey, runs the show for the Patterson house, my better half. And so Steve works with Leon, his manager. And so it's one of those things where with Camille, we have a really good team that does it all. So I can be in Southern Cal, but it's 20 some years, Matt, here. So you want to keep giving back. You want to keep doing what's needed for the area and keep making Fort Worth better. I've really enjoyed my time right now out in LA doing, and people at USC have treated me unbelievable. Coach Riley's awesome. It's been fun to be part of their family right now. And, but yeah, it's, you just keep pushing. That's what I've always done. That's how we're able to change TCU. I think was how we helped change Fort Worth. And now we're trying to, take all those little places where we're not where we need to be and try to keep making them better. So we're excited.
Is it surreal to be back as a coordinator? You've been a consultant, but you've had opportunities to be a coordinator, but you hadn't done this in some 25 years or whatever it is. Is it one of those things like riding a bike? Did you kind of jump in and everything felt natural? What's the thing about the gig that feels the most different to you? Because I'm sure you're still grinding and all those things, but obviously you probably have more things at your disposal. You probably have more support staff than ever, but what's been the biggest difference that you've noticed in your, after now going through spring ball as the USC defensive coordinator?
Well, number one, I always call defense at TCU. And so, it really hasn't been that far out. It's one of the reasons why I did the Amazon Locked In college football show was they gave me an opportunity to watch Catapult Thunder, which is what all college coaches watch every day as far as watching other colleges film and doing it. So every Sunday I was able to sit down. My wife watched Netflix. I watched football. And so having consulted, never really got away from the game, kind of studied the game. In fact, it really gave me an opportunity to kind of look at it from a different view where we are. Lincoln talked to me a couple years ago about doing this, and it was important to me to lay out for a little bit as far as the possibility of going into the College Hall of Fame. And so that was a goal. If it was achievable, I wanted to be able to at least give myself a chance. And that came to fruition. And so, when he called back this time, and I knew that, that I probably didn't have many other opportunities as far as doing things and getting into it. I knew the kind of team and the staff he had together and the history of USC as far as football is concerned. And so, we jumped in, and here we go. And we made progress in the spring, obviously teaching a new system. But, with the way things are now, rule wise, the way you can still, you can meet with kids and do things, it's easier to get things taught faster, because you're not locked into a box. It used to be that you couldn't really start having meetings till you started spring ball. And now, you can meet a certain amount of time a week and do some of that kind of stuff on the field, in the classroom. And, we'll keep doing that until school's out, under the rules and guidelines that you have to have. But, yeah, it really, it's easier for freshmen. We probably somewhere around 55 to 60%. They had a great 2026 class. It was the number one class in high school as far as rankings. But key to it is they're still only 18 years old. So it's a lot of our defensive team is new, and they're just coming out of high school. And so February was a big grow up period, and then March, obviously going through spring ball, and now we'll get into April. Then they'll be out for school in May, and then you come back in June, and then you start back up, and then then all of a sudden it'll be August. But anymore, it shouldn't be that freshmen are freshmen, because usually you get 2 to 3 cycles of lifting, so it's like a redshirt year now, because most kids are on campus. They come in the spring. And so your team gets an opportunity to be able to grow up and do some things. And Lincoln, and then also Chad Bowden, the GM, have really set up a great schedule as far as moving forward of how they've done things in the spring, what they want to get accomplished. And, I've just been part of making sure that turns out the way we want it to. So
I was interested in hearing that maybe you had tweaked your defense. We sort of know what you value, know what your beliefs in the secondary, and you're viewed as one of the most innovative secondary coaches ever, and overall defense. But I heard you talking about maybe taking some of the zone concepts or things that were already in place there, and maybe even having a hybrid. What's that been like for you? And can you explain that to me, that match, quarters thing that you've done for years? You're sort of known for it. Like how dramatic of a change is this for you? And what's different? What's the most different about your approach?
Well, number one, it's just not USC, but I was with Pete at Texas and the way they did things. So I took things that I thought would make what we did at TCU better. Also Coach Aranda, a couple things that I took from them. And then also then watching when I got into USC, because you wanted to be able to teach faster, and you didn't want everybody to have to start from the beginning. So we've blended the stuff that we've done at TCU with some of the stuff at USC, some of the stuff that I thought was better at Texas, and then also a little bit while I was at Baylor. And so, really, to be honest with you, it's become interesting. I'm pretty excited about it, because this day and age, the way you can teach and you can do things, you can do a little bit more. The key is to find a way that can be learned fast. With all the freshmen we have on campus, and how we had to do it so that they could catch up faster. The older guys that were at USC felt like that they weren't learning everything new. And so, and we still have a lot of time before August to keep going back over all that stuff. So I'm excited. Where it is, because I think it blended in. And the other part is, got an opportunity. Ohio State. You look at Ohio State. You look at Indiana. Watching Indiana, how they do things, they're very similar to our scheme, even though they play 3 linebackers instead of a nickel, but he played like a nickel. And so a lot of their scheme is also very similar to we are. And so what they did in their scheme to make themselves better has made a difference, I think. And so you can give yourself opportunities. You always want to stay up, in which we always did. I always thought it was funny that, because you did it for a long time, people felt like we were behind times. But really, to be honest with you, at TCU, there was things that we did that still nobody said that you could do. And so we're able to teach that with the Trojans and go forward. And We still have a lot of time left, before we get into the season to keep tweaking that and find out what fits our players. Because really it comes down to how do you fit your players, the personnel, the level of talent. In the secondary, they're a lot older up front. The guys have played a lot more, and we're a little bit younger secondary wise. And so what they can learn, what's going to work against the people we have to play against, and how do we make it better than it was a year ago. So it's been that's why people ask me about how I like Southern California. I don't know. We went to work in the dark and came home in the dark. We've been working at it, going to keep working at it. I think it's even though spring ball's over, I think that, the charge is on, especially even through May, making sure we break down our first 6 or 7 opponents, see what we're going to have to do to be successful against them. Plus looking at what we did and how do we tweak it so that we do it better. And all the things, same stuff that we do over and over again, you talk about that helps you as a program to become better at what you do. So, obviously excited, it's getting back into it's been fun. I love kids. I love the kids. I love young coaches. It's been be a part of it, get out back on the field, do that side of it. So, for me, it's been, it's put a smile on my face.
Who in the portal has grabbed your attention that's been able to come in? You said you retained a few players up front. You may have a little more veteran leadership in that point. Now, obviously, you can sort of play into that. Are there a couple of names for people that from the USC fans that'll be watching this, that guys that really have made an immediate impact? Because when you talk about Indiana, I think of what he did with his James Madison players, and then they continued to build on it. And, of course, they got guys. And, Gary, you've done it with all shapes and sizes, but I can't help but think of a guy like D'Angelo Pons, who started out at a smaller mid-major type school and ended up being an unbelievable player for them. Who are a couple of guys that you've gotten through the portal that you feel like are going to make that immediate impact for you?
Well, they were come number one, difference that I didn't bring guys from somewhere. He brought them with him, so they already knew the scheme. They already knew all of it. But they've got. Really, it's probably Coach Riley's job, who he likes to say positive things about and all the rest of it. But, we felt like we got a couple young corners. We felt like we picked up a couple linebackers front-wise, also some very talented front people. We had a couple bigger D tackles in the 300 range. We'll have somewhere between, I think we have 6 or 7 that range anywhere from 305 to 380 at the D tackle position, which is bigger than I was used to. And we've always thought of having linebackers that can run, and they definitely have that at USC, like we've had at TCU, where they can run and do some things that, when you can put linebackers in coverage, it gives you a lot more of an opportunity to be successful against people in the passing game. And you can protect your corners a little bit more when the linebackers can run like that. And so, but really they kind of, Chad and his group, the GM at SC, did a great job of gathering talent. Knew that we were going to be a little bit young, but we were going to have to grow them up. And, I think we've come a long way. In doing that since the beginning when we got here in February. And so now that everybody's heard it all once, now to be able to go back over it again in April and then, they take some time off, and then June and July before you go into fall camp is going to make a big difference, I think, of what we're trying to get accomplished. So
I'm curious about Big Ten offenses when you start to break it down. You've had great friends that have coached in the Big Ten. You've studied it over the years, but how big a difference are there just scheme wise across you learn to try to slow down some of these Big 12 offenses like Oklahoma's with Lincoln Riley. When you start taking a look ahead of all that you're going to face, for instance, Indiana will now have the former TCU quarterback. what stands out to you? Like how big a difference do you see in the different schemes?
Well, I haven't dove completely into everybody, but obviously, we played Ohio State and Ron Dan, I think Lincoln's done it. We had to get bigger up front on both sides of the ball. I think we have 4 or 5 offensive linemen that the range in the 6'6" to almost 400 range, and you heard that right. 370 to 400 range size wise. Like we said about D tackles, of having guys that have to be in the the 330 to 310 to 315 to 335 range. And so we felt, they felt like they had to get bigger. We have gotten bigger. And so that's probably right now our strength is the physicality of the front. Because when it all comes down to how many people do you have to add to the front to stop the run. And if you don't have to add secondary guys as much to stop the run, them and the linebackers, then it makes it a lot easier to play the pass. One of the reasons why we played the match quarters at TCU was for the simple reason of we knew we were going to be fast, but we weren't going to be the biggest defensive front, and so we knew we'd have to add secondary guys. And when the addition of things that we're putting in really has more to do with probably how we play the pass, and so that we don't put as many people on islands as what we maybe have done in the past. But if we have to, we will. And to be honest with you, I think, if you listen to what Coach Riley said, we've been a lot closer in pass coverage, making it more difficult for them just to easily, trying to take away, it's like defending. It's like in basketball when you got to defend every shot. That's kind of what we've always felt like in pass coverage. You got to make them earn every shot. You can't just leave people open and say, well, it's underneath. It's an underneath throw, and so this is what you do. And so that was a little bit different than what SC was doing before. And so we've just kind of done it where we're going to try to do both. And so we'll see how that works out.
Did you take in all the USC history? And I mean, you've known it over the years, but Coach McKay and Coach Robinson, and there's just so much unbelievable history with the Heismans and I mean, at one point they were running back U, then I think they were DBU. They've probably been something else. Then they probably became linebacker U. Did you have time to take any of that in and kind of, I mean, it's a pretty amazing place, I would think.
Well, we hit the ground running in February when I got there.
Yeah.
And then March here in spring ball, there's been former players, former greats that have been out to practice. And I'm just trying to build something, put something together that they're proud of. I think that's the biggest thing is to get back to being physical. And so tackling well, defending well, and it makes you better when the offense has all their starting offensive line back, the quarterback back, the running backs back, tight ends, most of them. And then, some wide receivers, and they've added some really good players at that position too, plus tight ends. And so when you do that on a day-to-day basis, if you're having to defend against people, players in practice that are really good at what they do, all it does is it makes you better. And so every day was kind of a war, to be honest with you. We got together, and because they were always going to tweak how they ran routes and how they attacked us, we did the same thing. And so I think that was one of the things that Lincoln was looking forward to, as far as us being able to do, and then for us to be able to take that forward. And if you add Mike Eckler, special teams coordinator that just came, has really been fantastic at all the places he's ever gone, and raised the level of the special teams. We got a punter that can punt with both feet. I mean, it's really amazing to watch him be able to go right-footed, then left-footed, and punt it the same amount of times as far as distance. And he's very precise about what he does with it. And so when you put that all together, I think Lincoln is probably not completely happy, but I think he feels like we're going in the right direction of what we're trying to get done and how we're trying to do it. But I can't speak for him. I can't speak for him, but for me, it's been fun to watch how much we've grown as a team since we started back in the 1st of March.
I don't remember you ever trying to recruit an ambidextrous punter in your time at TCU. That's kind of interesting. Now, you used to turn running backs into pass rushers from East Texas or linebackers or whatever. I don't know if you'll be trying to do that anymore.
Well, no,
But you have
still,
300.
you got great. It's, still you got to find guys.
Yeah.
One of the couple of their linebackers that are out of Michigan that are at USC, both of them were, they were safeties, kickoff returners, kind of like what I look for. So I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the same kind of job descriptions for what you're trying to recruit when you evaluate and how you do things. I don't think you can ever take the evaluation process, Matt, out of college football. I know you have the money, to be able to go out and you can go out and do all that, but I still believe when you're talking about a whole roster, you still have to do evaluate, you still have to develop. That's one of the really big things that we've been doing this spring is really talking about development. Defensively, it was tackling and takeaways. And so, you put all that together every day. You evaluate yourself every week. You get done with 4 practices in the 4-week deal and say, okay, what did we get better at? What didn't we get as good at that we needed to? And then you start off with objectives for the next week. And, after you get to 15, then, I'm getting ready to put a calendar together of how we do the rest of April. So we can do the same thing as far as the limited amount of meeting time or on the field time that the rules allow you to. So I'm excited about, kids the kids there are great. They want to win. They practiced, felt the same way when I went to Texas. Everybody had their illusions about it, and the kids, they worked hard at Texas. And, same thing, being one of the blue bloods and going to USC was the same thing. New strength coach, doing a great job, came from Kansas State. And, kids are hungry, want to be great, want to get to the playoffs, want to win a national championship. And so that's what you come to USC for. And so that's, to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I chose an opportunity to work with Coach Riley because of his offensive prowess of going against him every day, on Saturdays, now every day.
Yeah.
Those kind of things intrigued me of how that would all work. And so here we are.
Is that Jaden Mayava to go up against him and watch him operate? What does he remind you of anybody? Or obviously he's put up some great numbers. How impressive is he?
Well, he is. They have to replace probably two first-round draft choices in Lane and Lemon.
Yeah.
So they've got some work to do on that. But there's some talented kids there. The thing about it is anymore kids come out when they come out of high school. You just kind of find, did they come out of a program that they were taught well, or were they just great athletes at another place? And you've got to kind of start with you got to kind of start from the beginning as far as the intensity and learning how to become a student of the game, become a coach in your own right, and which is one of the things we've always prided at. I've always prided myself in of teaching guys so they could fix their own problems on the field. I think that's the whole key, is get guys to a position where they can fix their own problems. And then, because you can't make all their decisions for them. And everybody nowadays, it doesn't matter the personnel, they can line up an empty. Nobody's in the backfield, or they can line up with 3 backs in the backfield. And so how do you approach all that, and how do you get ready for it? And you talked about the Big Ten, and that's the biggest thing is the physicality. And then being able to really transition when you were playing tough run teams. How do you play the play action pass? I think everybody feels better when it's a passing situation. It's 3rd and 10. It's, how do you play 1st and 10? How do you play second medium? And really I think both Ohio State and Indiana the last 2 years have won national championships, and they were the number one red zone teams in the country. And so how do you get back to making sure that you play great red zone defense and work on takeaways and don't give up the big plays. And so that's kind of that formula is not just for USC. That's been a formula for a lot of people. And so for us, you kind of got to look at the top. Whenever I changed conferences, and all the conferences that I was in at TCU, it still came down and we felt like we always had to have a 2-year game plan. You had to have played them there, played them, come back, and you wanted to set your recruiting and everything that you did against the top 2 teams in the conference. And when we were in Conference USA, it was Southern Miss and it was Louisville. We went to the mountain you went to the Waco Mountain West, then it was BYU and it was Utah. Okay. And now when we went to the Big 12, we went into the Big 12, you're talking about Oklahoma and Texas that were at the top. And so now you're in the Big 10, and now you have to look at the 2 top teams the last 2 years. And I think, one of the things that's going to be a little bit tougher, but it's one of the reasons why I chose the opportunity was, last year they played only 2 really playoff type teams. Illinois had a really good record, but both just Notre Dame and then Oregon, which this year we have Ohio State, Oregon, and Washington coming to the Coliseum. And we go to Wisconsin, you go to Rutgers, and you go to Indiana, and you go to Penn State. And so with Maryland also coming to our place. And so, that's the games. Those are the games you got it. And then you have UCLA, which is, a rivalry game there in LA. And so how you get yourself ready to go, you'd think that you have to, out of those six playoff type possible teams, you got to win 4 out of the 6. You hope to win all of them. But I think, if you play that kind of schedule and you would end up somewhere. I think we had a couple teams that were like 2-loss teams. Not that we're for people out there. I'm not saying that that's where it's at. You know how I am. I'm kind of a understated, overplayed. But at the end of the day, I think you put yourself in a position to be able to get in the playoffs. And if you get in the playoffs, and you got a chance to win a national championship, especially with that kind of schedule that we're going to play. And so, I'm excited about all of them. To be honest with you, it's everything that you wanted, but then why you went to a USC.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Muschamp's back at Texas. You're back. I mean, things kind of go, it's kind of an interesting full circle, some of these things. By the way, do you want to be in the press box, or are you more comfortable on the field like you always were?
Well, I'll probably start out there. You will see what Lincoln likes, but probably start out on the field. Okay. Here's the thing with the tablets now, Matt.
Yeah.
That you have on the sidelines, you can see really fast what the problems are. And Lincoln did a great job. We worked we practiced at scrimmages. We practiced that so that we got used to talking to our kids and showing them the plays and how we corrected it and what we needed to do. And so and it's easier for me because I won't be talking. The position coaches will be doing it. Allows me to look through it really fast, see what the problems are, get a chance to talk to everybody, and it's different just as a coordinator, not being a head coach. I don't have to flip over and watch on the other side as much. So I get to totally concentrate on one side of the football. So when we're off the field, or we have the tablet, or we watching it, or we looking at how we're being attacked, how we needed to tweak it, where the mistakes are, and what's the positives that we're doing. And how do we need to start getting after people? And so, I've never had that. You always had somebody that wrote things down in the press box, and you looked at it at halftime. Now you're able to tweak it after every possession, how they're trying to attack you and what you're trying to do, and possibly see something that they would see that you need to make sure you talk to your kids. And then, being able to talk to the safety or the linebacker, which one everyone. That you decide you want to do, how coordinators do it, and be able to get the call in. And then also be able to talk to them and give them the possibilities of what may be happening with the formation when they come out. You have to have the microphone shuts off at 15 seconds. So there's a lot of different, people stay in the huddle so you can't see. People come out fast so they can see what you do. I mean, there's many ways that whole thing goes down. So
yeah, you're gonna forget and chew on your OC every once in a while, like you used to do to Doug.
Oh no, I've enjoyed my role. I've enjoyed my role.
Last thing I had, Joe Klanderman gets hired at Baylor, DC. Was with Kleiman, came with Kleiman to K-State. A lot of people have tried to sort of do what you do. Some people really liked what Iowa State's done over the years, in terms of, trying to emulate some of that. Klanderman, what stood out about him? What do you think of him? What do you think Baylor got? Because you took Baylor's cornerbacks coach, Paul Gonzalez, your longtime cornerbacks coach. But I thought that was interesting. Baylor replaces him with a TCU guy. Baylor does like hiring TCU people, as you've noticed, and I'm sure you do take a little bit of pride in that. But does anything jump out at you about this hire of Klanderman at Baylor?
Well, I mean, they were successful. He came where he came from, what he did. He was successful at Kansas State, and I think probably one of the reasons for it is probably maybe a shortage of defensive linemen that they felt like they could go get, and so you could be successful. It gives you an opportunity to surround offenses a little bit more because of the 3-man front. He's probably doing some 4-man stuff, which they did at Kansas State also, but it kind of allows you, anytime you can work with more DBs and be able to surround people, I think it gives you an opportunity to be successful doing that stuff. So I'm always, it's going to be fun, because of Coach Rand. I'm hoping it all turns out really good, because really good dude, treated me well. And so I know in the short time that Coach Gonzalez worked with him, he was very impressed with Coach. And so.
Okay. I appreciate you letting Jarrett stay with us. All right. I got to see him recently, and the Baylor tight ends coach at Baylor Pro Day. He's done great work with Michael Trigg, and Michael Trigg, probably end up getting drafted somewhere. And I think Jarrett's had a profound impact on him. So I know it's kind of fun to see that legacy of your coaches still out there coaching at different places and having an impact. But anyway, well, I appreciate it, Gary. I was excited for you, although I noticed really quickly that this time commitment was going to cut down on some of our conversations. So, how persistent I can be. I stayed after you, as I always did. And so it's been great to have you on. But I promise you, a lot of us will be that maybe haven't necessarily rooted for USC in the past. We'll come at this thing from a little different angle. So, man, congratulations to you, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, it's been fun. I'm back here for the foundation for a couple of days. It's great to be back here, but like I said, people in LA, the SC family has treated me great. Really love the kids there. I love the staff there. All the way, I think they have a fantastic AD. Jen's unbelievable. And so, they have a mission of what they're trying to get accomplished, along with Chad Bowden, their GM, what they're trying to get accomplished, what they're trying to go forward with, and where we want to get to. And so you always want to be a part of something that they have very, very high expectations, and they also have a plan to obtain those. And so for me, it's been fun to be a part of that. And so now it's my job to make sure that what I'm in charge of, that we help raise the level of where we're trying to get to as a SC football program, and follow Coach Riley's lead, doing what we need to do. And so it's been fun. But I tell you, it's you can't be somewhere 20 some years and not miss. I miss Fort Worth. It's fun when I do get a chance to come back and see people in the area. It's been I got a chance to play golf this morning. Some guys I had out at Shady Oaks I hadn't got a chance to be around, and then got here, started going back to work, get a chance to talk to you, and going to finish up my calendar for April and May and then move forward.
All right, that hair on the back of your neck's going to stand up when you hear that fight on for the first time and you're heading out there on that field. And I've been to the Coliseum. There's few places in all of sports that have that kind of. Rose Bowl's one of them, the Coliseum, and then you can look over there and see where the '84 Olympics happened and all that. I think that pool's still in use, Gary, if you ever want to go get some laps in or something like that. So thank you, sir. Always fun to have you on, and we're really excited for you. I feel like you look younger than ever. I think Coach Signetti's success may have given everybody a jolt, and so great to see you back in the game, especially in such a full-time basis. So congratulations. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Matt, and tell everybody hello.
I'll do it. Gary Patterson, the defensive coordinator now at USC, and very few times do you have an opportunity for a legendary coach. He's now already in the College Football Hall of Fame to go back and do something like this. I guess, John Robinson, after his USC days were over, did come back to UNLV. There's some cases of something like this happening, but pretty rare to go well over 20 years at a place like TCU and then go be a coordinator at a legendary program out of the conference. But that's interesting, Kev, just listening to Gary talk about the different sizes. I mean, just the 4 or the 5 offensive linemen being up there around 400 pounds. I think while it's not like the Big 12 doesn't have some big dudes, I think what he's finding is that's a little bit different level out there in the Big 10 in terms of size. But I promise you, he'll still hunt for all his safeties and all those athletic guys and then take some of those guys and make linebackers out of him. He won't get too far away from that.
November 14th was already circled on my calendar, and now it is even more.
Oh, we didn't show him your Indiana gear. Yeah.
I know. I kept back. I don't want to stir anything up.
Yeah. All right, Kev, you want to take a quick break, and then we'll be back, and we'll wrap it up with a couple more nuggets on that NCAA title victory last night for Michigan. It's next.
The selection here at Allen Samuels is great. They have a wide selection of vehicles. They go anywhere from a car to an SUV to a truck. I'm more of a car person myself. That's why I got a Chrysler 300 last. But my wife is looking for an SUV, which they have a lot of choices at. Anybody that's looking for a vehicle, I would recommend Allen Samuels.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
It is Matt Mosley, the Mosley Show. And I was just texting our man Kevin to our man Brandon so we can get some of this cut up. I like Gary Patterson talking about the different schemes, the different offensive schemes in the Big 12 from the Big 10. And, it's obvious with the ability to run so well at places like your alma mater, Kevin, at Indiana, that the play action becomes so hugely effective. I just feel like, there are some things that's going to be not that different than what he was facing in the Big 12, but I think from a size standpoint, I heard him doing a recent interview, Kev, where he was kind of talking about the, putting, helping his offense out in spring ball with like an extra defender in the box. And then they were having some success against the run. And then he took the defender out of the box just to see how it looked. And they were kind of getting run over. And it's just interesting at this point in spring, they're experimenting with, okay, how are our guys going to react? In moments like this. And
it is kind of one of the knocks against Fernando Mendoza is, well, he had a great run game, a tremendous offensive line, and had a great defense. While that is true, you look at what he did in those closing moments of some of those games, and he was otherworldly.
Yeah, I would say that is right. Kev, let's, as we get ready, we'll have the landing here in just a few minutes, the Brazos Landing. That's where we land at the end of the show each day. Great to have Gary. Kev, because he took that job and we haven't had time we've had time. He hasn't had time to be on. It was fun to have him in a relaxed type mode to where he could, and he didn't want to give, it was kind of interesting. He didn't want to give a lot of the names, did he? He kind of wants to let Lincoln Riley discuss like the names and things of players. But boy, you got the general idea that from a size standpoint and what he can do and the way he's going to kind of tweak things to not be so much into that, the match quarters defense is kind of what he's been known for all the years, and getting as many DBs on the field as possible and how he divided them. And it was a little bit of a hybrid probably of a little bit of a man-to-man and zone. I think he's open to doing some of the things they've done, which is I think they're a pretty good zone team. And so he'll lean into some of that. But, wow, lots of fascinating stuff to get into there with Gary Patterson. It does sound like he'll be on the field, will not call games from the press box. I think that's where he feels the most comfortable. Kev, you had a little bit of a couple of ones we didn't get to because we needed to get to Gary in our episode of Campus Confidential. And as we look back on last night's game, Michigan becoming the national champions, Florida was last year. This is Michigan. It's scary. Michigan will have a ton of those guys back. I guess. I mean, I don't know who's not back. Is Lindeborg?
Lindeborg is a grad student, so he'll be gone.
Yeah, but they could have Mara back, although he was so good. He may, somebody may pick him in the top 15. Certainly, I think
although
Bryce
was talking about yesterday,
one more year. Yeah,
such a deep draft class. Some of those guys may decide to stay just so they can improve their stock.
Could Morez have another season? I think he could.
I think he could, yeah.
Actually, yeah, he had 2 years at Illinois. I thought that was kind of sad that our buddy who was so good, and people keep bringing it up, and I'm like, it's not. They frame this in such a weird way, but their point is Terrace Reed was at Michigan for a couple of years, then he comes to UConn for a couple of years, and so somehow he missed out. Like the teams that he was a part of have won 3 of the past 4 national titles, and he didn't get any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was going back and forth. Now, again, he was awesome this year for UConn. Wow. I love that player. I think he's a really fine player. UConn will be good again because they got dudes coming back, and Mullins will be back. That number 12, can't think of his last name. They got a big man who didn't play a ton, but you can just tell he has the look of like not Condon. He's a little thinner than Condon, but he reminds you of one of those Florida players. He's good. Demery has another year left. Solo Ball has another year left.
Yep,
they'll be fine. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna bring a bunch of dudes back, and I like that little Zero. He actually played pretty well last night, even though he got a little skittish. They turned the ball over too much, and again, their guys got in foul trouble. Mm-hmm. Solo and Demery both, Kev, were just reaching too much. It was just kind of like, why are you doing that? Like there were times where a guy was going in and they should have just let him have the layup or whatever, but they couldn't help themselves and they grabbed at the arm. And it was just so frustrating because those were players that needed to be on the floor. And then UConn threw somebody in there, number 3, and he looked athletic and lean. I love the look of that player, but you could tell the lights were a little bit too big. And one time he goes in there and he tries to do a little reverse, and Mara or somebody, might have been Morez, just sent that thing packing. I thought Michigan's defense was as good as any college defense I've seen this season. That was scary. I mean, I just thought they put on a show. Even Cadeau one time, they called him for the foul, I think. Oh, Kev, I'm sorry. I've got way too much movement today. All right, what else did you have for me, though, Kevin? There was one nugget that we didn't get in
this is something we've talked about before, but now that the job has been completed on both sides, is Dusty May equal to the Curt Cignetti narrative?
Dusty May.
As the graphic shows, he led a mid-major to the national spotlight. He inherited an 8-win Power 4 program, and then a playoff berth in his first season, and then the Big Ten championship in his second season, and the national championship. So there is definitely a parallel that you could think of here.
This is the dangest thing I've ever been involved in. Why, Kevin? Why will it not work?
I don't know. See, I have a camera; it doesn't move.
Okay.
So if I move,
and I guarantee you, there's a way I could prevent this. Okay, but at least we're like at the end of the show.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm holding it with my arm. This is so funny. Okay, oh my gosh! Look! If I come down here.
Okay.
Just
bring it back.
Okay, hold on. We'll come straight at the camera. Hello, here I am. Boy, I don't see it at all. I somebody sent me one. Okay, I don't see it because Cignetti, Dusty Beeline and others, and Steve Fisher back in the day, and the VAB5. I just think Michigan had too much basketball history, and they had a national title, and so I don't see it. I mean, Cignetti did it at such a non-traditional power and he did it like when they hired him. Nobody was like, oh, they're going to bring all these people from James Madison. Oh, they're going to give him a bunch of portal money. His was way more shocking than Dusty. Dusty came from a place where he had taken FAU to a Final Four, and so we knew who he was. Most people had no clue who. Did you send me this last night, Kevin? Is this the same one you sent me that showed? I thought that was because sometimes I got my buddy from Baylor, Kevin Gall, who sends me stuff, but this was from you. Yeah. The one I thought you sent me last night, and it doesn't say this on here, that blew me away about Dusty, is that wherever he was, at FAU, like his first, let's say 3 or 4 seasons, he's just not doing anything. Like he's kind of flailing around. They're okay. They're not great. I can remember like reading who they were losing to. And then I don't even know exactly how he put that team together with John L. and who's the big man that he took with him to Michigan. Vern Golden. I don't exactly know how he did it, but about the 3rd or 4th year. So he's sitting there. Somebody sent this to me last night, and I'm so mad that I can't find it. Oh, I know I can't. I'm using his wrong thing. I'm using his old number. Hold on. He sent this to me last night, and he is a top executive from Baylor. Listen to this one. And I don't think he minds me sharing this. He's the top strategist for Baylor athletics, or at least in my mind, he is. Kevin Gall, Goll, and he's a big believer in the Mosley Show. Used to listen to the radio show all the time. Used to come on with us. Listen to this, though. I thought this was a good nugget. Just a touch over 4 years ago in February 2022, Kev, Dusty May's FAU team got blown out 70-51 at Old Dominion to drop his conference record to 31-32 in his 4th season. So just kind of like, 500. No meaningful postseason, never a threat to win the league. Since that moment, 65-13 in conference games, makes 4 tournaments, 3 Sweet 16s, 2 Final Fours, and now has won a national title. You can't just give up on people immediately. It's why every once in a while, like Cincinnati, when they fired Wes Miller or some of these teams that'll just like, I think we're done. We're 500 too much. I mean, UVA had a women's coach that led them back to the Sweet 16 for the first time in forever as a 10 seed this year. How did they reward her? They fired her. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be something more than meets the eye, but there's still something to be said for trying to stick with somebody and help them. I'll tell you what, with Dave Aranda, no team in the country has done that more than Baylor, right? I mean, they've given him, and part of it was luck because of what happened to Mac, but no team, no administration in America has been more patient with the head coach than Aranda. And here's what I hope. I'm not sitting here right now in a frustrated mode about that. I'm in the mode of, let's see it pay off. Let's see it pay off. Now, if Indiana had stuck with, let me say, Kevin, you'll recognize some of these names. Kevin, whoever they hired, Kevin Walker, let's say. He was a former offensive coordinator somewhere. Kevin something. You remember that guy? He became the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah.
Would anything have ever happened in Indiana? Probably not. The guy before that was the guy that was the interim head coach and defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator at Penn State, who was at Indiana, and he was an okay coach. Tom
Bill
somebody.
Lynch.
Huh?
Bill Lynch.
What?
Bill Lynch?
No, this was the previous coach to Signetti. That Bill Lynch was not his name.
Tom Allen.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Tom Allen did a nice job at Penn State, was an interim there when a bunch of stuff was going crazy. And I thought he was doing okay at Indiana, but they were like, no. And what we didn't know,
they had a lot of offense, but they didn't have a lot of defense. They would just, their scores would be like 49-46.
But that's better than some of the mess y'all had to watch.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? Some of his players were stayed on the team. So we got to give him a little bit. Now, of course, Signetti brought all those James Madison guys with him, and that was phenomenal.
As contrast to what you're talking about with Dusty and a little bit of struggles early in his FAU, he's not wrong. If you Google him, Signetti has a 79.4% win rate. He has never had a losing season anywhere he has been as a head coach.
Yeah. But he just hadn't done it at any place that most of America knew about.
Yeah.
And Dusty, when he arrives at Michigan, had gotten it done. He did the amazing thing at FAU. You know what's sad about FAU now? And I almost wish, I don't know. I guess I'm glad my guy got the job, my buddy. But like every year now at FAU, they stock that roster with these extremely talented young guys. And then every year, the big dogs come in and just completely pluck all their good players. Dusty was the last guy there that was able to hold on to some players. And then NIL got rolling, and they can't do it. If I told you, Kev, what, like an FAU, it's a good mid-major. If I told you what FAU has to spend on NIL,
right,
compared to what the Baylors of the world have, you would be stunned. You would be stunned. It's not just night and day. You got a couple of days in between night and day. Buddy, good job today, Kev. Appreciate it. Good work. Great to have Gary Patterson. Mitch Thompson, Baylor baseball coach, is set to join us tomorrow. That's going to happen at 1:30. And we'll have a big show for you. We'll do it tomorrow. Thanks to everyone involved. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we asked Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now! I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.